Hey everybody, and welcome to this video in which we'll continue unwrapping the chair that we built in the previous two videos. So in case you haven't watched those, go ahead and check them out. Now I want to say this at the beginning. This video is going to be done with the help of a program specially designed for unwrapping, which is the Unfold3D program. So in case you have this one, you can follow along. If you don't have it, you can see how this program works, and then you can decide whether or not you want to buy it so you can use it. If you don't want to use Unfold3D, then there is another video that's how to unwrap this chair inside 3ds Max, so you might want to go ahead and check that one out. So for now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to check my layers. I can see that I have the HP, which is this, or the high poly, and the low poly. We want to unwrap the low poly model. Now, for this, in order to get this thing done, I want to select all of these elements and attach them together. Make sure you get the ones in the back, which are the plates connecting the chair to the base. Once we have this, move it around so you can see everything is done, and then Control Z so it's right back where we started. Now the thing with Unfold3D is that you need to have this object or the model that you want to unwrap, you need to have it exported. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put a UVW mapping clear, make sure we have nothing on there, and then go ahead and export this thing out. And I'm going to export this as an OBJ. So OBJ, and call it chair LP. Click save. Once we do this, I'm not going to change pretty much anything here. I'm going to stick with the texture coordinates. So simply just click on the export. This thing, as soon as this thing is done, now we can switch over to Unfold3D. The first thing that you're going to notice is as soon as you open up Unfold3D, this is the user interface. What you have here is the left and right side, in which on the left side you have the 3D view, and on the right side you have the UVW template. So for this to work, we need to first thing load the OBJ we just exported. Once you find the object that you just exported, click on open, and it's going to show up here. The navigation here is pretty much same as Maya, which is a bit different than Max, but you just click on Alt and middle mouse button will pan you around. If you just go ahead and scroll on the mouse, it will zoom in and out. And that's pretty much all you need to know about this thing for navigation. If you let go of the Alt and click on the middle mouse, you're going to be able to pan around and see your model from each side. Now, the first thing that you can notice on the side is that even though this thing is supposed to be like a 2D layout for our texture, we're actually seeing a 3D model here. And that is not what we want to do. So the great thing about working with Unfold3D is that you can basically select individual elements by clicking on the side over here. So you can have polygon, you can switch between points, which is F1, edges, F2, F3 for polygons, and F4 for the entire element or the island. Now, I want to quickly show you how this thing works. So what I'm going to do is click on the base here, and what I want to do here is come in and click on this button over here where it says Unfold. As soon as I do that, you're going to notice that I have this thing already done. So by moving it around, which is exactly like Max, you can use Q, W, E, and R as shortcuts to move it around. Q is just selecting, W is moving, but you can also just click on the adjacent circle here for rotating. This thing is for scaling it outwards or scaling it individually, and you can move it on each axis here by just clicking and on the arrows. So once I have that done, I can click on the one above it, click on unfold again, and just like that, this thing has been unfolded. Click on unfold again and move it to the side again, like so. There we go. And once you're done with something and you want to deselect, just press the space button. That will make sure that thing is deselected. Now, once I have these three done, I can just hold down Control, click on them, and come over here and click where it says Island Visibility. In case this thing is closed like this, just press on the plus and click on Hide. This thing is going to hide those islands since they're already unwrapped. What you're going to notice is that they disappear on this side as well, so they're not going to be in the way. So next thing I want to do is I want to add in the seams over here. So F2 will allow me to select the edges. Click both of these here. And now I want to loop the entire thing. So I can just press here, select loops, or I can just press Control L. That will get the entire loop going across. If I want to get this selection to be a seam, all I have to do is press the C on my keyboard, and that will turn it into a seam. Press, select the one on the back, again press C, and now F4 will allow me to select individual islands based on where I have my seams. So unfold again, click on the bottom, unfold, click here, and click unfold. So now what happens here though, as you can see, is we have this thing going across the whole edge here, but it's giving me this slope, and I don't want to have this arc. Instead, I want this to be well, I want to have this a straight line. So the way to do this is select one of these edges, Control L to select the entire line, and click on this button over here where it says Edge Horizontal. What you're going to notice is this thing is going to get blue. Now I'm going to select this thing as well, Control L, and make this horizontal as well. With this done, now when I press the Optimize key over here, it's going to try and get all of these lines to be straight. So Optimize, and there we go. We have both of these perfectly straight. Again, I'm going to select all of these and hide them again. And continue with the ones on the back. So let's go ahead and do exactly the same thing to these two guys. So I'm going to hasten this thing. So select both of them. Control L, C to convert to cut. There we go. There. One more at the bottom here as well. C. And now what this thing is going to allow me to do is select both of them. Click on, actually select all of them. Click on Unfold. This is going to give me the ability to move them either individually, like so. And there we go. And since we want these two to be straight, so, oops, select all of them, Control L to get the loop, make sure they're horizontal, move this around like this, and now click on the Optimize. That is going to try and optimize or straighten those two out. What you're going to notice here is that we have a bit of a stretching here defined by this red color. This means that we have a bit of a tension going on here. So this is not too big of a problem in this case, but what I can do here is go over to where it says the Optimize brush, click on it, and now I can click and drag here. Hopefully this is going to release some of the tension, but not really in this case. I can also try the Unfold brush, but still I'm just getting more problems. So instead I'm just going to leave it like this. This is not going to be a problem because all of these guys will have the same texture, namely it's going to be either wood or something else, and it's not going to be very visible. There won't be any visible deformation. All right, so again, select all of these guys, click on hide, go down to this one. Now we can select that face and this one over here, loop, press C. Oops, just make sure this thing is looped again on the edges like so. There we go. Loop it and cut. There we go. That's fine. It's okay on that side. Let's do the same thing here. Whoops. Let's see what. All right. Loop. Loop and cut. There we go. Now if I select this edge over here, is going to be unfolded like so. This thing is going to be unfolded like so. Over there. And the only thing that's left is the front and the back. Again, unfold. This will relax it as well. So unfold again. There we go. Put it to the side, hide it, and continue over to this side. Now here, just go ahead, select the edges, loop them, cut there and there, so we can have an ongoing element. Unfold, move it to the side again. Again, unfold. So, what we have here, let's see how this thing is going to look. So unfold, again, this is fine. And the only thing that's left is this piece over here on the top. Quickly unfold that as well. And now what we are left with here is pretty much the only thing that's left is the connectors. So hide this thing as well. Go over to the connectors, and these guys, I can simply select the polygons on the top here, and with the polygon selection, just press the C. So everything, all the polygons adjacent to edges on that selection have been turned into seams. Again, do the same thing for the bottom. And there we go, seams. And do the edge one as well. And in case you get lost around here, or just wander or zoom away from your mesh, press the F, and that is going to frame your view. Something like when you zoom in Max by pressing the C, here you press the F, and it gets you right back to whatever you're working on. Again, let's just repeat the same approach to this. Select the polygons by pressing F3. So C, after you have that selection done, get the bottom ones. And it's very simple. It's similar to what you would use in Max while you're working, but instead of pressing the 1, 2, and 3 keys, you press F1, F2, and F3. There we go. Those things are cut. The only thing that's left is the bottom one. The bottom one is going to follow the same logic. Select the ones you need. Press C. Like so. Get the one on the back. Press C. And now with all of these three, what I can do is I can select all of them, click on Unfold, and I have all of them unfolded. I can click on the optimize, make sure everything is fine, and now individually move them across. So all right, now we are getting somewhere. And with all of the elements unwrapped, what I want to do here is now click on show. So now this is going to unhide all of my elements that I have here, and I'm gonna press space, make sure I haven't selected anything, like so. And now I'm gonna click on the optimize button. This thing will try and basically relax any pinching that I might have. And once this thing is done, then you have the layout, and you have a pack, fit, and scale. Now what we want to do first here is click on the scale, and you have two buttons. Here the first one says rescale islands to their original 3D space absolute dimension so that their area will be the same in 3D space and in UV space. We don't want to do this. I want to get down to island rescale to their original 3D space, but keep the current total UV surface. So click on this button, and this thing will take all of them and scale them correctly. Now, once we have that, now we can pack them together. We have two options for packing. You have the first one here, which will pack them, we will pack all of the islands, or well, it's actually going to pack all of them. You have none selected, or you can select individual ones and pack them in. But you can also choose to pack translate, which will keep the current orientation of the islands, which is actually what we're going to do. I'm going to click on this thing. This thing is going to put all of these into one 0 to 1 space. And now once this thing is done, what you're going to notice is this actually isn't really well optimized. And the reason for this is we have a bunch of weird shaped islands, so we might actually have to spend a bit of time trying to wiggle them around until we get them to the right position. So for this, I'm actually going to spend a few minutes, make sure that all of these guys can fit together perfectly by spending as little as space as possible, so we can get more textile density. That thing is going to be fine for there. Now the real culprits here, I'm guessing, would be to simply move these guys around and try and not get any of these guys to overlap. So this thing is going to move. So manually try and get everything together. The problem here is that when it's packing all of these elements, it's really not optimizing well, because it will not do something like this. It won't fill in the gaps in the middle, as it will actually calculate this thing as a whole mesh. So this means that we can go in and manually place all of these items in here, and in this way try to get as much space possible from our texture. And once we have everything packed up together, we can scale everything upwards and get more space used. So for this, just want to quickly get all of these guys in here. But I want to also take into account the fact that once I select everything and now scale it upwards, this thing is going to get bigger. All right, so like that. Again, I'm going to click on pack and see how this thing acts like this. Let's increase it a bit more. All right, so with this scale, now I can go in and manually move these islands around until I get as much as possible out of this texture. All right, so just so you don't have to spend like a few minutes just watching me rearrange these guys, I will stop the video here and I'll come back as soon as I have them all spread around to a point where I actually like it. Alright, so after spending a few minutes and manually moving all of these UV islands around, I pretty much ended up with something like this. I could probably use a few more minutes and make this thing even better, or utilize a bit more of the UV space, but for now I think this is sufficient, and this will be okay to use for our next step, which is going to be texturing the entire assets. So once we have everything finished here, what I'm going to do is go Files and click on Save OBJ. I'm not going to save it as a new version, but just click on Save OBJ. So what this does is now in the OBJ that we just imported here, we have the UV channel imprinted over there. So once I go back to Max and import that OBJ, it's going to come in with the unwrap. So let's go ahead and do exactly that. So once back in Max, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my layers. Make sure my active layer is my LP version. Select the model that we have here. And now since this is the one that doesn't have any unwrap on it, I'm going to delete this. Go over here and click on the import. From the import, choose the chair LP, which is the OBJ that we exported out and just did the unwrap on. Click open. Once we are here, make sure you have texture coordinates clicked here. As you can see, it has a green light next to it, which means it actually does have that information onto it. I even have the smoothing groups ticked on, but that's going to be a bit of an issue for later on. But I'm just going to click on import now. And here's a great thing. Since this was an OBJ, it's going to be exactly on top of the high poly model, which is what we want. We don't want to use the high poly, but we want to have the LP in the same exact position like the previous one had. So now this thing is an editable mesh. I'm going to right click, convert it into an editable poly, put the unwrap UVW on, open the UV editor, and here we have the unwrap from exactly the same as we had it in the Unfold3D. All right. So I hope you guys had fun and you managed to learn something new. If you do have any questions, leave them below. I will meet you in the comment section of the video. If you enjoyed the video, then please click the like button, and if you're not subscribed, now is a great time to do so. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.